Hi there, I'm Kevin Benedict, SAP Mentor and Enterprise Mobility Analyst. I want to thank you for joining me today for this video comment. Today we're going to talk about the subject of buy versus build mobile applications. Now I know it really doesn't have to be either or, because there can be some applications that are purpose-built just for what you need. So you can buy those off the shelf and use as is. Others don't exist. And for you to achieve a competitive advantage, you may want to go out and build it yourself. However, that doesn't mean you have to start from scratch. That's what mobile middleware is all about. That's what IDEs and SDKs, software development kits, are all about. You don't have to start from scratch. Matter of fact, since 2003, I've been working with Sybase. And we always embedded the Sybase synchronization middleware as well as their databases in our mobile clients for offline access to data on mobile devices. Now, we didn't want to build those mobile databases, so we didn't. We bought those or OEM those from somebody that's already built them and that's smarter than we are. We could focus then on what do we want the application to look like and what data do we need to move out to the device and what data do we want to collect in the field and move back to our database back in the office. That's what we wanted to focus on. We didn't want to build synchronization technology. We didn't want to build databases for mobile devices. We again wanted to focus on where the business value was. And I think many of you are going to find exactly the same kind of motivations out there for yourself. There are also software development kits. I mean, Sybase has one for their environment. There's like some Pixis Mobile. There's Click Software who have their Click mobile environment. Cyclo has their Agentry platform and their tools for building applications. So if you're in any of those areas, including in cloud-based environments, Webelo has where you can use software development kits actually in the cloud, so browser-based access to development kits. All of those software development kits can save you a tremendous amount of time. Again, it's not just a buy versus build discussion. It's if you need to build it, how much do you need to build and how much can you use from an existing vendor out there that in fact can save you perhaps 80% of the development time. Earlier this year, I spoke with a number of mobility experts and interviewed them. One of them, I remember, said to me, Kevin, it's important to recognize that mobility is here for the rest of your career. I thought that was a profound statement because that tells us a lot of things. It's not just something you build once and move on. It's something you're going to support for decades. The concept of mobility is going to be prevalent. We need to pay attention on how we create applications, how we're going to support them, what is the total cost of ownership for each of those. So all of those, and we need to recognize that business itself is likely to change because of enterprise mobility. Do you know, I'm an avid student of history. I love reading books on history of all kinds. But I recognize one particular part of or segment of history, World War I. One of the things that always stood out to me is that when the military forces were preparing for battle, much of them marched toward the battlefield on foot and on horseback. In 1914. The strategies that their officers were still employing were designed for a horse and foot era. Their strategies had not anticipated or incorporated the new mechanized equipment and technology that was in fact available for the battlefield. Aircraft, tanks, machine guns, radios, all of these new technologies had not ever even been built into the battle plans. There was devastating consequences for all sides because of just a misunderstanding of what technology can do on the battlefield. Mobile technology has the risk of being the same kind of tipping point for technology. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is mobility can change everything. And if we in business don't anticipate how this new technology is going to impact our business, we're going to get left behind, and it's not going to be pretty. Do you know, I think it's important when we're talking about buy versus build that we talk about first, what is the vision for enterprise mobility? You know, and I can't predict everything, but let me just share some thoughts here. There's going to be an endless number of mobile devices. In some months, there's up to 45 new mobile devices that are launched in a 30-day period of time. There's all kinds of mobility. Our cars all have embedded wireless chips. There are cars built around almost the iOS. I rented a car this past weekend as I was traveling around, and we were taking my daughter on a tour of universities, and I could plug in my iPhone to the car. I could then speak through a speaker and have a conference call in my car through the system. It would play my music throughout the stereo system, all kinds of great stuff. It's almost as if the car was built around my iPhone. It's going to impact us in so many different ways, endless number of devices. People are going to be looking at integrating many back-end systems so they can all share and produce content and collect content from one application. And those can be dispatching, scheduling, asset tracking, fleet tracking, workforce management, knowledge management, human capital management, CRMs, business intelligence, ERPs, supply chain management, sales, etc. All of these things need to be sharing information with the workforce in the field, and the workforce needs to be sharing information back. That's going to happen. People are going to look at, especially managers that are back in the office, are going to want more visibility, more accountability to the efforts and work that go on in the field. I mean, think about it. If 90% of your company's interaction with your customers is done by your mobile workforce, being face-to-face on-site with your customer, it's very important for you to know how that interaction is going and what kind of customer service and what kind of overall products and services you're offering and you're delivering in the field. So you're going to see things like KPIs, key performance indicators, that are taking advantage of the data collection on the devices to monitor performance, to monitor sales, to share information, to share how your KPIs relate to other peers in your organization. Integrated business intelligence. So business intelligence is pulling information for all kinds of back-end systems and providing you in the field with the right amount of information at the right place in the right amount at the right time. Locations and business and context-aware mobile solutions. So they know based upon the fact that you're in Boise, Idaho, or in Manhattan, what kind of information you're going to need, who are your customers in that area, what work are you doing in that area, what other kinds of information do you need to know about that area that's going to help you in your both personal and business life. Mobile collaboration and enterprise social networking. You know, most of us are on LinkedIn, most of us are on Facebook, all these kinds of social media and social networking kinds of tools. The big wave here in 2011, 2012 is really coming down to enterprise social networking, where you can be exchanging information with your peers, both in your peers and other groups, so that your expertise can be shared amongst others and in other departments because of your knowledge in those areas. There's going to be, I believe, a lot of re-engineering of business processes and workflows based upon the capabilities that mobility introduces to you. We need to develop decision-making tools and better decision-making tools for really managing a real-time enterprise. I mean, we're getting volumes of data both from the enterprise and from the field in numbers we've never seen before. Those numbers and volumes of data can easily overwhelm us if we don't pay attention. There's going to be a real push for a unified view of your operational field. So you can see where everybody's at, what they're doing, where your campaigns are, where your advertising is, where your sales are happening in visually dynamic environments. You know, there's a maturity curve for mobility. Oftentimes, mobility starts in an enterprise through a simple SMS or email exchanges on mobile devices. It then matures to things like being able to dispatch work, to be able to exchange data, collect the data on a form on a mobile device and synchronize that back to the office, to collect data in the field through GPS, through digital photos, through voice memos, through forms, through all kinds of different things. To be able to have simple workflows and approvals and alerts and notifications on your devices, and to be able to access mobile websites. That's kind of the second level. The third level of maturity is you're starting to deploy your enterprise solutions and extend those out to your mobile devices. CRM. You're starting to look at things like route management for how you should best drive and save gas. Start tracking your assets through field mobile data collection and maintenance and repair. You start looking at where your inventories are in warehouses and in vehicles, and moving inventory levels. You extend workflows out so you can see where you are in a workflow. You start doing database-driven kinds of mobile applications that are working off ERPs and things. You're able to query databases. Perhaps you're even able to reach out and do some enterprise content management on your mobile device and look at the PDFs, look at the PowerPoints all on your mobile devices. Move that up the chain and you're looking at things like dynamic scheduling, business intelligence, so the right person is getting the right information to do their job. Sales and service are starting to collaborate and share information from mobile applications. Human capital management, you know the certifications and qualifications of your mobile workforce and who is where. Who do you need that has that information and that background, where are they located, and who's closest to help with that particular task. Knowledge management, social networking, as we talked about, and really at the very pinnacle of this maturity curve, if you would, is things like context-aware mobile applications. What do I mean by context-aware? Your application starts knowing what you need to do your job before you even ask for it. These are some of the things you're going to be seeing out there. And I wanted to share that right up front for a number of reasons. One is we need to be thinking about where mobility is going when we ask ourselves this question about buy versus build. Do I really have the capacity and the resources and budget and knowledge to build some of these mobile systems that are quickly coming in and being introduced into our enterprise? Or are we best suited selecting a vendor and a platform and a development environment that can support those things but do 80% of the work for us? That's one of the questions we all should be asking before we take the next step and decide to build it from scratch ourselves. I want to thank you for joining me today on this video comments.